Thank you so
Okay.
much for joining me. I am so blessed to have you. This is a huge deal for me. I know we've been talking for months.
Yeah.
I've just been supporting and cheering you on from afar. You've supported me too, and I am so excited to just jump right in. Welcome to the SOS Survivors of Stalking podcast. We are a grassroots global awareness movement amplifying voices of survivors of harassment, cyberbullying, stalking, and abuse through the legal system, which is why I got connected to you because I know that you went through it. And so I want to just hear your story. You can talk about whatever you'd like and talk about what you're doing now with activism and other ways that people can fight back and defend themselves and defend their families. You and I can talk about that for a long time.
Oh, yes, there's a lot
Now,
of information.
please tell me about yourself.
All right. Well, first off, Wes Matthews Acton, live in Wenatchee, Washington, Washington State, and been raising my four children by myself now for 8 years with full custody. And went through quite an ordeal, but the kids are happy, healthy. Actually, they were just at a Mr. Beast challenge. My son's still there. He's actually in the top 20 now. So we're excited about this. So, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. My kids they're driven, they're spiritual, they have faith, they're free thinkers, and that just would not have happened if the system got their way. Because yeah, in 2016, December 19th, right before Christmas, I had no choice. I had to turn my ex-wife in for child abuse. But the sad thing is, I was trying to get her help. She was unwell, and this is not the typical, oh, she's crazy because I left the toilet seat up. Not no, it
No.
was dangerous. First off, she was a little bit of the mean girl from high school, just her natural. I mean, everyone knows that certain
Yeah.
type that's the perfect one
Yeah.
at high school, but at least she wasn't. She was very full of herself, but at least she wasn't violent or harmful at the time. But little by little, after having kids, it just kept building within her, and then she just got really bad. So I went everywhere I could to get us couples counseling, therapy. But even though she had an issue, she was aware enough that she thought she was too good to go through the counseling, and then she took it out on the kids in a very, very bad way. I mean, I don't know how much detail you're okay with, but I know some details really affect people because let's just say my two oldest ones almost lost their lives. One in a bathtub and one through just suffocation. I mean, it was getting that bad. It was getting very bad.
Oh
And then
my God.
my kids were able finally to be allowed to have their voice in court. The court was not allowing us to present for the kids to testify, for me to present witnesses, for me to present evidence, and they fought me every step. And with the SOS that I saw there is the system stocks. They
Yeah.
had two. They had two private investigators. I'm going to learn how to talk one day. um,
You're fine. You're
Yeah.
fine.
Private investigators following me everywhere I went. I lost my family. I was in my family business. They automatically assumed I was the bad guy. So they just once you become an embarrassment or an inconvenience to certain family members and churches, they just throw you away. They shun you.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have done something wrong. Now, when you're attacked and stalked and destroyed by the legal system, oh, you must have done something wrong. Are you sure you didn't do anything wrong? I mean, uh, oh, they don't make mistakes. All those little things we've all heard, and I've talked to.
The
Oh my gosh,
gaslighting is
the gaslight.
classic
Yes,
gaslighting. Classic.
yeah, just turning it back around on you,
Darvo.
and
Darvo is
exactly.
another technical term for it, which is becoming very common in discussions around psychology and mental health and things like that.
Oh, exactly. It's everywhere, and you wonder why these people they go to church, they talk about, oh, forgive and forget. I don't judge, but
Right.
then it's the first thing they do. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I don't. I'd be okay with judging. I say, please judge me, but they pass judging, and go straight to condemning. They
Yeah.
condemn you without any rational judgment. Really, judging is a good thing. That means they're actually having some rational thought to weigh the options. There's good judging too, but no, they just go straight to the condemning.
Right.
And I had a private investigator outside of his SUV taking pictures of everything I did, and they were trying to find anything I could to try to make me the bad guy. I was at a hotel for a job interview, and I was shaking the manager's hand, which was a very nice looking young woman. And
Mhm.
immediately it was all over my church. And Wes was leaving a hotel room, and now members of my church were even
Oh
taking
my
pictures of
God.
me,
Yeah.
trying to find something wrong with me, because I do understand protecting women, because there's a lot of bad dudes out there that did wrong. But I was like, can you see? I was a seminary teacher, I was a scout leader, I was trying to be good. I repeat this quite a bit to let people know that I'm one of the safe ones. I mean, anyone can meet
Yeah.
my children. I was in DC just last month, and thank goodness everyone part of the FJAA, Family Justice and Accountability Act,
I saw
that
that. I was really
I've
happy
been,
for you.
yeah, well, my
Real
kids and
proud
I,
of
we had a
you.
great time. Oh, thank you. And my kids, they're articulate. They speak up. My daughter, that was part of the reel, my pretty brunette girl, Cassidy. Oh, she's my rock. When she was about 8 or 9, I was burning myself out. I had the kids back for about a year and a half. I was working at data centers, building for Bitcoin. I was
Wow.
burning the candle at both ends, and she's there unloading the dishwasher, just this little girl. I'm like, sweetie, I'll do that, because I wasn't going to let my kids ever have to suffer again. That's I
Yeah.
was so grateful I had them home. It was a terrible battle getting them home. and and she's like, Dad, you need help. And I'm like, well, thanks, sweetie, but I'll do it. Like, no, you need help. And I was like, yeah, yes, ma'am.
And
And
that is so hard because you take, when you're going through this experience, you take on so much and you
yeah.
also try to shield them
Mhm.
as much as you possibly can. But like you
Oh,
said, often the community can ostracize or exclude you. Maybe the community, like you said, there are people in the community that are involved in the stalking, the legal abuse, the harassment through the legal system. That can be very isolating and very difficult. And it's so hard. I am so proud of you for excelling and maintaining what you did during that process. And I think, that just the private investigator alone, I mean, I completely understand. I felt that when you were talking about that. I have someone who stalks and harasses me online 24, as you saw, as you saw.
yes.
They know things about you that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
They project things about you that aren't true,
Mhm.
based off of, like, I would perceive someone shaking someone's hand as a normal business relationship. I do business deals all the time. I work in real estate development,
Oh
and I
yeah.
often have to meet people at restaurants or coffee shops or conference centers and things like that, and shake their hands. So I get that.
Oh, it was the way. Oh yeah, this was in court when they showed the pictures. It was the way they were shaking hands, because she put her hand on top of mine like this,
Oh
and
gosh. Okay.
I was like this. Oh my gosh, I'm such a monster. Oh, and see, my wife and I, my ex-wife now, but my wife at the time, we were getting the divorce. It was going through the process because my family kicked me out of the family business. And I was a commercial plumber contractor, just did a lot of good work, and I enjoyed doing that work. It was
Yeah.
liberating. What
It's
helped
good
me
money
through
too.
it is pretty
Commercial,
good.
yeah, commercial
Commercial
contracting and
plumbing.
plumbing,
Yeah,
good money.
unfortunately, not anymore. Now the owner gets most of the money, and they just do a rotating door with the workers now. It's pretty sad what they've been doing with workers now, but that's a whole nother issue that's happening in society.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
We
I
can
was just
talk
trying to be the
about the
man.
restructuring of the economics a different time. We'll have,
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I'll be happy to talk about that someday, because I've done a lot of research on that. But anyway,
let's
but
do
yeah, the
it.
stalking part never ended, because later on found out 5 years of having my kids, and we were doing good together. We were keeping our house. I had a very nice house. I was successful. I was making good money. I had no criminal record. I didn't even
Yep.
have a speeding ticket. I mean, I pushed cruise control right when I'm at the speed, because I just, not because I'm a really goody two shoes guy. I just want to not give the system more of my money that can go to me and my kids going to, a fun amusement park or something,
Right.
that and it's not because I'm greedy. It's just they have enough.
Yeah.
And but anyway, besides that, it's just we were trying to make a decent living. I went from job to job wondering what's going on. And then when I was trying to become my parents' caretaker, because I was helping them out anyway, I couldn't find any other work. I was working as a limousine driver, and that wasn't enough money because the company started going down because people don't want can't really afford the luxury of going out and having fun. They live in front of Netflix now. That's basically
Right.
all
And
most of them do.
Uber and Lyft took
Uber and
over.
Lyft. Yeah, so we have nice days with the limousine, and we were doing really good, but it just started going down. Couldn't even maintain the limousine, so I tried to become my mom and dad's caretaker. I couldn't be that because they put here, which I think I sent you the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely chat about that.
the founded finding, and people don't realize how involved that is. It doesn't just have a fake record as disciplinary action. It follows you. When you put in your resume or your application online, your number comes up, your social security number, it sees if this is a good job that can give you decent, sustainable employment that can take care of your family, which I had some jobs that were going to be nice, cushy jobs.
Yeah.
I could have enough energy to come home and take care of my kids. Homework, three daughters brushing out their hair when they're little.
Yep.
Now they're older, they can do it. I mean, brushing hair is a job,
Yeah.
especially when my three girls, they're active. They were running through the woods up the hill, and they'd come back with brambles in their hair, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh great, I love you so much. And I'm picking the hair, and you get that brush out. And if the kids go to school, this is what one teacher at the school did, because they saw a single man, and they were all they were, some of them were mad that I won. I mean,
Of
some
course.
most good
There's
parents,
a gender dynamic to that. And even
they're
just sometimes it's almost like it threatens women. That's
yes it
one thing
mhm,
I've noticed,
mhm.
because and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
it threatens other women.
Mm.
Even you could get a woman who has full custody of her kids or who's in a very happy marriage, with a great guy, and once they see something like that, it can be very threatening.
Oh, exactly. This is something that popped up a lot. Well, Wes, you're a man. Why is it so difficult for you to have a job and take care of the kids? I was like, it's funny. Now, this is not, this is directed at the hypocrites, not the good ones. They're like you and so many other wonderful men and women I know that I categorize people good behavior, bad behavior, nothing
Yeah.
else. And I was like this. It's funny how when it's you, it's the most difficult and toughest job in the world. But when it's me, I'm making excuses to be lazy. I was like, yeah, it was like, I
I
mean, I
just
still
have
have really
two.
good,
So
yeah.
I just have the two. And I'm telling you, you might be able to see the gray hair and
Yeah, yeah,
the bags under my eyes. I don't know how
yeah.
you do it before.
I
God
used to
bless
have
you.
hair. No,
I think you're
no.
doing
Oh, thank you.
phenomenal.
Oh, appreciate that.
So I just want you to know that. But go
Oh,
ahead.
oh, thank you. Yeah, they're A students. They're doing, and not to beat myself on the chest, but that's one thing that's really been used in the family court system is parental alienation was used by the court system to keep the parents fighting against each other so they
Yeah.
stay in the court system. It's another trap. 50-50 custody, so many parents that are good, they just want any time with their kids, so they see that as a goal.
Yeah.
It's another trap to turn the kid into a tug of war rope to keep them in the system and always nickel and diming them to death.
Yes.
There
Yes.
there were some good co-parents that truly put their children first. So they're like, no, this needs to be what's best for the kids.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people use their kids as a weapon against the other parent. And
Right.
that's what's really been destroying so because both parents want to be the Disneyland parent. The child never develops, never grows, never learns how to be one day a functioning adult. And that's one thing that's really been, well, you can look around in society. What's happening is not working. I
Yeah.
mean, there's disrespect, they're rude, not all of them, but but
The
it's
newer
growing.
generations are way more outspoken and often in a negative way than I feel like we were.
Exactly. They
I don't
want to see.
know what that means. Maybe it was just what I like to call home training. There was a little bit more of that like familial respect, but you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they've gotten rid of discipline. I tell people discipline, not punishment. Discipline means you wake up on time, you're
Yep.
disciplined. And hey, you did that wrong, you're not going to have game time. I mean, it's simple.
That's
All
okay.
you have to do is say no and mean it. And
Yeah.
but when you say yes, you got to mean it too. And that's one thing I really try to make sure I watched myself. I wasn't giving those false promises. I wasn't giving a false threat either. I was like,
Right.
and one thing, when you get that install them young, like, okay, no game time. You sit down and you read a book, or you just sit down
Yes.
and you're just going to be bored and you think about it. And I don't leave them sit in the corner too long because it goes from them thinking about they made the mistake to thinking about revenge and blaming everyone else. When they're lost
Right.
in their thoughts, then you let them sit for maybe at most half an hour, and then you bring them back and then you explain to them what happened and why you had to shut them down, and then I show them some stories of some other people. I was like, well, look at your uncle so and so, he's got he looks like a gang member, he did some
Yeah.
bad things, even though I love him very much. He's gone through a very difficult life and him and I get along great, but he's made some mistakes, and I just try to work with him the best I can. And but I was like, now see, this is what happened to them, is that their parents were too rough, or
Yep.
they weren't detailed on what you need to do to grow and improve and learn. I was like, so when you guys are adults, what kind of life do you want to have? And well, they want a house, they want a family, they bring up the typical things. I was like, well, when you're an adult, you do realize you're going to have to know how to do all this, right? The
Yep.
laundry, be on top of things. Don't leave something in the corner and it starts smelling and comes alive and crawls across the floor. Like
Yep.
your
Oh
sock.
yeah. Keep
I
a
was like,
clean
sweetie,
house.
you're.
You got to keep a clean house.
Oh yeah, I
And
was
it's
like, you
not
sweetie, your
just
socks come alive. Yeah.
it's about it's and I love that you brought that up because I think that's important to talk about because that's something that oftentimes the courts will focus on is like keeping a clean home. And I think what people fail to realize, or what people don't often realize, is that cleanliness, from a mental health perspective, as someone who did work within the mental health system for many years, including in mental health hospitals and outpatient programs, is that cleanliness can often be a marker of decompensation. So when you start to see a messy person physically, a messy home, it can be a marker of worsening symptoms.
Oh,
Additionally, your physical environment can impact your functioning. It can impact the organization within your brain. It can impact your mood. So, it's not necessarily about strictness. I force my kids to comply, so I'm a better parent. It's our home is as cleanly as it can be because that's the most positive environment for them to flourish in.
oh, it is, and then you're more relaxed when you don't have that lingering in the back of your mind. Oh, I gotta get that done. So I turned things into, I called baby step chores, and I turned into a game. Like
Ooh,
one kid will unload the dishwasher, the
there you
next kid
go.
will load the dishwasher. I threw the Costco wipes on the floor, sprayed with, and I only cleaned the house with hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, Epsom salts, and the Costco wipes.
Good for
Done.
you.
Because
I
well,
just buy the
it's
I just buy
cheaper.
the Clorox, but
Well, hydrogen peroxide. Once you spray it on, you see it killing the infection.
yeah.
And then if you
Yeah.
pour like Epsom salts, like the eucalyptus or the lavender,
Ooh.
then you have a fresh smell. You see the infection actually dying, not just covered up. Because Clorox doesn't. I see. I was part of hazmat and biohazard as well when I was a commercial plumber, and I had to take care of a
Yeah,
lot of
I was
restaurants.
just gonna say you probably have a
Yeah.
lot of experience with materials like that.
Oh yeah, because hydrogen peroxide kills the infection. And one great thing about like toilets, you spray the toilet, it it bleaches everything organic with hydrogen
Yeah,
peroxide,
that's
and
true.
then it's $1 a bottle. It's
Yep.
safer. If the kids drink it, it just foams up, and they actually get that for if
Yeah,
there's poison.
it's not deadly. They can,
Yes, it's not. It's not.
you can get poison control.
Yeah, and that's why when CPS would come over and do their inspections, they'd look around and peek at everything. They'd go underneath my cabinet, like underneath my sinks is where I keep paper towels and toilet paper, because if there's ever a leak, that absorbs it before it ruins the floor. And all the
That's a good
chemicals
idea.
I had up high. And
Yeah.
then in cutlery, I had up high, and I had a little lock, and then I had everything labeled on my cabinets where the forks go, where the cups go. So when they were little, they could see the word, and it was helping them learn as go as well. So I got a label maker, a really nice one, and I went crazy. I had a joke. I was like, I labeled the table, I labeled the faucet. My sister was over. She's like, did
Yeah.
you label everything? I was like, and guess what? I labeled the chairs. No, seats. I was just being a dork. And because I wanted.
You worked so hard at making a beautiful, wholesome environment for those kids. That
and
is such a
they're joy.
beautiful thing, Wes. I
Oh,
mean,
thank
and that's probably that beautiful positivity is why you were fought against so hard because
well.
they did not the system, the players within it, and probably particularly your ex did not expect that.
No, she thought I was doing everything that the bad boy does. I don't want to say the man because no, there's a lot of good fathers, there's a lot of good
Yeah.
husbands, but the bad boy that wants to get away with it. She automatically when I was trying to get her help, and then she automatically instead of holding themselves accountable like any bad individual, just individuals, they instead of holding themselves accountable, that pride and ego gets in the way, and then they try to turn it back around on someone else. And that's one thing I did in court is I tried to make sure I didn't use any of the popular words on social media like gaslighting or narcissist. I
Yeah.
used the
Yeah.
description
The
because once
buzzwords.
once you say that word, they don't take you seriously, and they
No.
think you're already doing a diagnosis. So I give the description. I helped a lot of people through the court system because it's not just having the documents in order. It's not just having all your rights and laws that you can just spout out. It's your demeanor. It's how you present yourself because they don't study the law. The lawyers and everything, they're not really educated on law. They're educated on mental and emotional manipulation to get you to react. That you can go,
Right.
Your Honor, you work for me. They
Yeah.
want you to do that. Because that freedom of speech, that freedom of expression, they want you to explode with that so they can use it against you. Well, you're hostile, and if you're that way now in front of us, how are you with the children by yourself? It's
Right.
always a mental manipulation. That's why I try to warn everyone about. So what you see on social media, do not bring into the courtroom
Yeah.
because they that's all they're focusing on is using against you. But yeah, the founded finding, I ended up having to go on a COVID forbearance plan because COVID was destroying so many families and having them lose their homes, and I was trying to hang on to my home the best I can. But the forbearance plan stops you from getting work. It stops you from presenting any documentation. Once your name goes into an algorithm, the founded finding stops you. And I know this because I've had ex CPS workers, ex
Wow.
lawyers, people who, professionals in the field that were trying to expose the corruption, everything that the corruption, the system did wrong. They pinned it on the good lawyers, the good CPS workers. And it's like, oh, we caught them. Those were the bad ones. And then people like, oh, good, justice was served. No, the good one got blamed for what the bad ones are doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what, and then during COVID and a little bit after COVID, that the 4 years of a nightmare, a lot of good people, a lot of good professionals in the field were just destroyed. A lot of the good connections I have here in Washington State, um, it was a Northwest Justice Project, Volunteer Attorney Services, Sage, a couple other really good programs. They're gone. I used to be able to
Wow.
help a lot of parents, the good parent, uh, get some resources to help. Oh no. Um, the good people that were in these organizations, they're gone. I was like, where's Eloise? And they're like, who? Oh, where's Jennifer at? There's been no Jennifer. I was like, Jennifer's a pretty common name. There's gonna be at least one Jennifer here. Like, well, the Jennifer you're looking for. I was like, oh, so you do know who I'm looking for. And
Yeah, that's another thing. There has been a lot of changes in federal funding and even state funding on this. And I'll tell you, as I was, going through what I was going through, I crossed so many doors that were closed. So many doors were closed to me. I originally was working with the Office of Victim Services, and they referred me to a pro bono law firm that represents stalking victims. They were instrumental in helping me fight back, but the stalker then tried to sue the victim's right center. And
yeah,
and that de facto prevented me from getting legal representation from their office anymore due to the conflict. So now we were all getting sued by this crazy person. And the thing too that I think is important for us to talk about is that we as good people, we put our best foot forward, we make mistakes, we admit to them, we work hard. I did everything that the court told me to.
mhm,
I followed all court orders. In even in my co-parenting relationship, I am positive to my co-parent. I am respectful. I do not bother him. I send him regularly. I will send him pictures of the children when they're with me. I tell him about important events to make sure he's aware and he comes. I use him as my babysitter so that not only can he spend more time with the kids, but we're not inviting, I don't have to worry about getting a stranger to come babysit them.
Mhm.
And even more so, I buy, I will buy gifts for the children to give to him for holidays. I will involve him in major decisions. If there's something that goes on in school, he's the first person we're calling. If there's something going on with the pediatrician, he knows. I work so hard. Another thing too was in order to maintain the relationship that we had, I rescinded any right to child support or alimony.
Mhm.
The financial support is really just paying for the house that we purchased together when we were married.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
so he, and it's a lot less than what some people get in child support and alimony, but it's a lot more. It's worth a lot more than some people get in child support and alimony. But the good thing is that I'm not destroying his credit. He's not destroying mine. I'm not going after his retirement. He's not coming after me. You know what I mean? We're not at each other's throats legally.
perfect.
We just had to find a way. And that was what made it work. That is what
Yeah,
made it work is
because
that,
you're putting the kids first. So that's how it will work. Unfortunately, there's not people that got it together the way you do. That's wonderful. How you got that got a good dynamic going. That is important. I even forgave my ex-wife's child support completely. She
there
was
you
only
go.
going to pay $250 a month, and I knew she couldn't even do that because
Yeah.
she was too far gone. I mean, again, not making fun of her. She
No.
she wasn't able to do it, and her family wasn't going to support her because if they find a quarter on the ground, they dance around and pray to the quarter god before they pick it up. I mean, that's how cheap and greedy they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that sounds like I'm being a little facetious, but no, oh my gosh, if they had to pay a tip, they broke it down to the very last penny. Like, okay, 20%. Oh my gosh, okay. Do
You
you have a
know,
penny? Yeah.
I like that you brought that up because I think it's important that we recognize oftentimes the upbringing that they went through is instrumental in how your relationship works with them too. The
Right.
dynamics that they grew up in. So if they grew up in chaos, or if they grew up in abuse, or if they grew up in poverty, or if they grew up with like an OCD type parent,
Yeah.
that's going to influence your relationship with them too.
Yeah, grew up in a very manipulative and controlling environment. That's what she grew up in. And that's again not trying to demonize because my environment was tough too. I mean, I grew
Yeah.
up. My big brother and big sister were teenagers when I was already a little kid, and there was the teenage drama. It was the '80s and '90s, and it was basically a new world
Yep.
for teenagers then because a lot of new exciting things were coming up, and my big brother and big sister were good people, but they just had a tough teenage life. And me as a little kid, I couldn't translate about what was going on. I was only 6, like, huh, what the heck's going on here? So, growing up in that environment, but my mom and dad were very good. They taught me how to work. They taught me how to be respectful. My dad really was very solid on honor and integrity, and like you be a gentleman. Bam. Yeah, yes. And
Yeah. Yep.
I
Yeah.
had some very tough grandpas too.
I know. Yeah. My grandpa was in the Marines.
Mhm.
He was a child of German Jewish immigrants,
There we go.
very strict upbringing,
Mm.
very strict. And
Oh yeah.
my parents were too. I feel like I don't think I'm a strict parent, but at the same time, I definitely have provided more structure than my parents did.
You're a consistent parent.
Yeah.
That's what I try to tell people. You got to be consistent. The kids need to know what is approved and what is not. And
Yeah.
you got to draw that line because the kids need that line because they're always gonna try to get past that line. And if you don't have that line in the sand, it's much easier in the long run. Like right now, they're teenagers. Ethan, my
Oh
oldest,
yeah.
he's 17. He's gonna be 18 here in a few
Oh
months.
my God.
And then, yeah, my baby boy,
Congratulations, Wes.
I still see him, that little boy, when first time took him fishing, he was like 3 or 4.
Oh,
He's running with his fish on his finger, like, Daddy, Grandpa put a fish on my finger. And
Oh,
and I was like, okay, Ethan. Now that he's a big boy with his friends, like,
yeah.
okay, I need you to put a fish on your finger, and you can say, Daddy. He's like this. Oh, okay. And one cool thing
You
with my son,
created this beautiful life for these kids. I'm
oh,
just so happy and so proud, and
oh,
I
thank
think
you.
it's so hope. I hope that people that watch this episode feel
Hmm.
that hope and
Oh,
feel that positive energy and know whether you're a father or a mother, because
yeah.
a lot of mothers are being victimized too,
Oh, they
right?
are.
There is a gender dynamic to it, but society
Mhm.
is starting to change. And I one thing that I've always said is, having worked, I worked in the shelter system for many years, and I've worked in nonprofit as well, and variety of nonprofits. And the problem with, how the experiences of male survivors are downplayed, it affects little boys. People don't realize that for me, the advent of fathers' rights and the advent of equalizing the gender experience within the court system really for me is more about protecting little boys, because the viewpoint that people take against a father actually will impact young men, little men.
Oh, yeah.
um and so if we don't believe grown men, we can't believe little boys. And little boys are victimized and abused at the same, at very similar rates,
There
very
they are.
similar rates. And I think we're doing a disservice to children, especially little boys, by downplaying that experience.
Right.
I am a
They
mother
can't
to
be
two
boys
little
anymore.
boys myself. I
Mhm.
still, I mean, to this day, I rarely ever allow anyone to babysit them except for their father.
Mhm.
I don't allow them to go into bathrooms by themselves. I don't allow them to have sleepovers unless it's someone that I super duper trust.
Mhm.
I literally, there's, very few instances where they're not around me,
Yeah.
a teacher, or their father.
Yes. A good
Very
authority figure. Yeah. How old are your kids?
8 and 9.
Oh, yeah,
Two
I love
boys.
that. I miss when
Yeah.
my kids. I had a thing when they were really little. And whenever I introduced myself, I had my first three. I said, my kids are 4, 2, and new.
4, 2, and 2. I
Yeah,
love that. So
yeah, I
tell
had fun. Mhm.
tell me a little bit about how you fought back. What did
I,
you do to fight back?
oh, that was a law of strategy. It was basically an espionage game. They were trying to demonize me. I knew they're trying to get me to react. That's what
Yes.
they're trying to do. I volunteered for the first uh, psychological evaluation. I just made it happen. Well, I didn't
Yeah.
really volunteer. I went and made my own because I
Yeah.
knew they were going to have me involved in something else. So I was like, oh, doctor, we had our psychological evaluation. They don't think you're a good enough doctor. So can you talk to this doctor? I found a way how to play them against each other.
Okay. Important.
One other thing I did is after a couple months of basically losing the case, they were going to throw me in jail for everything that she was doing. I I just went around. I did not tell them what I was doing. I did not post it on social media.
Yeah.
I kept it quiet. Where the people say silence is power and they still shoot their mouths off. No, silence.
I'm
So I went
sometimes
around.
guilty of that.
Oh, well, we all are. I'm half Italian. Sometimes I can't shut up. But I went around and got my medical records. I went and got when I had to do this. I get my medical records? They were like, why? I was like, well, first they're mine, but I didn't do
Yeah.
that. I was like, oh, I found
Patient's
another
rights.
doctor because I have a real issue and I need to come to grips with my problem. So I need the records so I can sit down and talk to my counselor about it because I finally realized I'm the problem. And they're like this, oh, good. And then I had to feed their ego
Yeah.
basically. And I know that seems manipulative, but that's what they do to us. So I got my medical records. I
Well,
got my
we're just being
that I
compliant. You
yeah.
you were in compliance.
Yeah, you had to fight fire with fire to a point. And I mean, I wasn't derogatory towards anyone. I wasn't bearing false witness against anyone. I just used their little ego trip against them so I could get what I needed. So I got
Right.
medical records. I got my any type of, I didn't have any criminal record at all. So I made sure I got that in hand. I got my records that I was, a scout leader. I was a seminary teacher. I just went and got everything of my time together. I got all my pictures together. I took screenshots of all the messages. I kept all voicemails of things that, well, were incriminating, but I knew if my kids were going to have any future, this is how bad it was. It was like holding my wife with one hand off a cliff and my kids with another. And the only I had to let go of one because she instead of helping, she was kept pulling on me.
Yeah.
And the kid, like every night I could see my kids' faces, like, "Daddy, please save us," basically.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I got a hold of the GAL, Guardian Ad Litem. Her name was Gretchen, and I had to do this too. I was like, I would really like to have a sit down with you because there's a lot of things I gotta get off my chest. There's some things you need to know about me that I just need to finally confess to. So again, the way I said it was like this. Oh, and then see if I said I got proof of my innocence, they would have drugged me out. But
Right.
if I said I got juicy gossip about what a bad person I am, ooh, then they filled in time because
It
I
opened up
mean
a
we're
conversation.
yes, we're all human. You know, you can't help but have your interest piqued when something, something interesting might happen. That's why we all like the mystery movies and shows, you know. And I don't know if you ever heard of the show Father Brown. I really like that show. He's a priest that solves crimes. But
I've
it's
heard of that. Yes.
yeah,
I've only seen it on Reels, but
yeah,
yeah, now that you
it's a
say
pretty
that,
cute
yeah.
it's a pretty cute show. So I enjoy that. But when I sat down with her, I showed her, here's my medical records. And when I went to go try to get help for my wife, all they did was prescribe me a prescription called Parental and turn me into a zombie.
Ugh,
And I was like, and here's
yeah.
pictures of what happened. Here's the pictures of bruises on my kids, the duct tape on their mouth, my
I saw
daughter
that. Oh my
coughing
God,
up
my heart
water.
dropped.
Oh yeah, and that was not even a sliver of what happened. And I was like, here's the picture of my of her purposely feeding my kids rotten food. I mean, it was not. I mean, she would. Yeah, it was just terrible. And again, not to like, oh, good man, evil woman. No, she needs help. See, I was trying to get her signatures to get her committed because again it was getting really bad and they excuse people with mental illness now saying you're being cruel to them. I was like, no, that's being cruel to them. I mean, you emptied out the insane asylums and put them on because that's mean, but you put them on the streets, that's better. Yeah, it's their natural environment. That's how they're some people are acting now. But when I
So,
got all the pictures, the video,
okay,
the and I lifted up a little one of those old DVD players I put in DVD to show her a video of some things of
good.
my neighbor had a security camera that showed my driveway. And she's like this, wait, you're trying to save your family. I was like, yes, see, I was trying to help her. I want my kids to have a good childhood.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, and how and is this all you got? I was like, no, I have 6 other copies of everything you see here with people I know and I love and I trust. And she's like this, oh, you thought ahead. And then she was almost
Good.
upset that because I know what she was going to do. She was going to try to confiscate everything I had and
But
probably
you,
make up
yeah.
some BS law. And I was like, she's all, did you share this with CPS? Yeah. I was like, oh, no, I came to you first because they got him in line because, you want what's
Yeah.
best for the children, right? And I always do this. Is this what's best for the child's development? Is this what's best for the child's safety? I kept that dialogue going. It, is it best for the child's mental well-being that they are keep being subjected to all this? I mean, tell me if this is a long process, is this good for the kids? I mean, you guys want what's best for the children, right? And then they'd always say, well, the children are usually safer in foster care. This really? So you have you have a list of children who grew up and have a successful life, and did they send you pictures of their kids that they're grown up, or are they sending you pictures from a jail cell? Well, do you have a success record of these children that you took from the family to grow up to be decent citizens, or are they still part of the system even today? And they get quiet. They're like this. I was
I,
like, oh, really? You don't have a success record?
yeah,
Yeah.
I am
They're
so
just,
glad you brought that up. And
mhm.
as we wrap up, because we only have a minute left,
Oh, sure.
but I would love to have you on again,
Oh, yeah.
please. I there's another gentleman that I think you've met, Michael Shirley, and there's another gentleman, Sean, as well, that I think
Mhm.
you would really get along with. I would love
Yeah.
for all of us to continue the conversation.
Yeah. I think I
We're
talked to
gonna
them
have a
on
couple
social
other
media.
women come on too.
Yeah.
But what is one thing that you could say to anyone listening in closing
Mhm.
about this experience or just about having hope?
Stay strong. Do not let them get you to react and categorize people by behavior, not gender, background, or culture, by behavior. Good, loving people people who are misbehaving, and good behavior, bad behavior.